Recording. Okay. Comments? No comments?
No comment, sir.
Oh, okay. Try to observe, yeah? For the Muslim, try to observe people while they are praying. Are they using the high language or the low language? Okay, now let me share again my screen. Okay, so we talk about this a little bit, and then all of these language variation, yeah, we're going to talk about it in the framework of the two dimension, the language users and uses. So let's talk about the user. Can you see my slide now? Kelihatan nggak?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Kelihatan ya?
We can see.
Okay. There are varieties associated with region, with ethnicity, with social class, status, and role, with sex, in gender, yeah, age, as setting, and purpose. For region and ethnicity, you know it as a dialect, right? For social class, we call it sociolect, a dialect related to social class, your status, your role in the society. For gender or sex, we call it genderlect. Yeah. Thank God in Indonesia we don't have it. Yeah. Because if it will be difficult for us to memorize, just like the Arabic or not just Arab, yeah. It's some in Japanese. I know some because if I'm not mistaken, there are words which is like watashi. Watashi, it used to be for a female speaker. For male speaker, they use bokuwa. That means me, right? Now, but then again, in the modern situation, people tend to use watashi, even though they are male. So a little bit changes in the language, yeah? But there used to be differences in that. Okay, now it with age we have chronolect with time, yeah. And then for the uses, we have three framework. The first one is the field, the topic of the matter. Whether we are talking about sociolinguistic will be different if we are talking about, let's say, teaching methods. They have different vocabulary, of course, right? Or if we are talking about some, if you make some jokes, it will be different with the a very serious topic, right? If you're talking about legal documents, if you're talking about something related to the court, it will be different with the topic of, let's say, medical situation, right? So the field can also contribute to the varieties of language. And there's also tenor. In this case, tenor is the relationship between speaker and hearer, whether you are close to that person, you have intimacy, or in social distant terms, you are closer to this person because probably you know him for a long time, or it's a strangers, or you have power over this hearer. That means you can literally order people to do something for you, right? That is tenor. And last, we have the channel or the modes, whether you are using spoken, written, combination between that, you are using sign, right? So these are the dimensions, users and uses. All of them, if you make a combination between these two, it will connect with one variety of language. But let me remind you that some varieties are at individual level, some varieties are at societal level, society, yeah, societal level, yeah. Okay. Now, the uses, later on, we will talk about this field, tenor, and mode in terms of register, right? Now, let's talk more about this social linguistic, right? The etymology is socio, that's society, and linguistic language. Society is a group of people. They live together in a community, in an area, and they share common customs, common laws, common purposes. So that makes them a society. And language, you know, that is a set of arbitrary signals used by these societies to communicate, to cooperate, and to identify themselves. So if you combine this, then you have social linguistic, which is the study of the relationship between language and society, right? So the social linguists, these are the people who study social linguistics, yeah? They focus on analyzing the language variation and patterns, right? They observe people, the way they use language, and then they try to make patterns, right? And I have an article on varieties of English here. Later on, you can click this, right? And check on the articles so you gain more knowledge about social linguistics. Now, in a society like, for example, here we all of you are in Jakarta right now, right? Udah di Jakarta semua kan ya? Ada yang masih di luar daerah? Halo?
I think it's only Fandi.
Jakarta, okay. So in Jakarta, people use different varieties of language. Yeah, they use Indonesian, some of them using English, some of them using one of the vernacular languages here in different social contexts. Why? Because they want to convey certain social meanings, right? So any selection of these language variation may be different from one person to another person, right? And of course, like I said earlier, the choices can be individual or societal as in a group, right? And the choice of varieties may reflect also the identity of the speakers. It can reveal their age, their gender, social background, economic background, even religion, right? So if you want to be a social linguist, right, you have to uh, work hard on how to observe people, the use of language, not just phones. You study human sound, right? Phones, the vocabulary, idiolect, ed from individual, right? So individual dialect. Each of us has individual dialect. One of my friend, uh, he has a problem pronouncing the sound s. So he has problem pronouncing s as in susu. So whenever he says susu, he will say shushu. And we make fun of him. but but that is idiolect, yeah, individual dialect. Or people when you stutter, yeah, do you have any friends who are stuttering? It's also considered as individual dialect, right? So it's fun to be social linguists, actually. You can go to places, remote areas, observing and studying a community or tribes, right? Study how they use language, make patterns of them, right? So that is social linguistic. Now, because we are studying English, let's take a look at the variation of English. Let's just check the region. Yeah, English by region. This is the Great Britain. Are you familiar with this map? Udah pernah lihat map Inggris kan? Which one is England? Hello.
I'm not familiar with this map.
It's Sultan, sir. London.
Okay. Okay. Now let me say it. You are a student of English. You want to be an English teacher. That's why you're considered as a teacher's candidate. But your main core is English. So you have to know the core. What is your core? English culture, English history, even English map, not just in Great Britain, but also in the United States. So if people asking you, or students, your student asking you, okay, sir, so where is England? Then wait, I'm not familiar with this. Which one is it? Oh, it's the green one. Yang hijau ya. Kalau yang hijau abu-abu dikit, itu di sebelah kiri ada apa nih? Bentar. This is Wales, right? Ini bagian dari Great Britain juga, tapi bahasanya beda dikit ya. Wales. And up north we have Scotland. Ini di atas Scotland. Nanti di sebelah kiri sini dikit nih ada pulau agak gede dikit. Ini Ireland ya, tapi nggak kelihatan di sini ya. So this green one, this is what we call as England. Ya. Jadi kalau ditanya England yang mana? Ya bukan semua pulau ini, bukan ya. England hanya bagian sini aja dari tengah sampai ke selatan. Ya. Where is London? This part is London. Nanti di sebelah sini ada English Channel, Selat Inggris. Di sebelah sini ada langsung berhadapan dengan Normandy, Prancis ya. Normandy, Prancis. Di sini ada Belanda gitu ya. So please try to understand where English is, because you are a teacher of English. So this map, the lines here is inaccurate border ya. Ini kan hanya ilustrasi ya, just an illustration of the borders of dialect. So in London we have London dialect, but within London dialect we also have Cockney, right? And then we have Southern dialect. Yeah, we have West Country dialect, including Cornish here. And anybody here related to Liverpool or Manchester? They are a bit north there. Di sini ya, Merseyside. Ini ada apa Liverpool dari daerah sini nih. Yeah. So we have varieties, even in British English. So when people say, "Are you using British English?" British English is so, vast. We have variation in British English. Are you talking about the standard British English? Probably you're talking about people in the dialect that people in London used. We call it the BBC English, right? Karena dipakai di BBC ya. So we call it BBC's English. Oke, ini nama-nama ininya. Ini ada Ireland nih, ya. Ini kan tadi England, ini Wales, and then Scotland. Nah, ini Ireland. Ireland dibagi dua ya. The northern part is belong to Great Britain. Yang bagian utara ini masuk ke Great Britain. Yang selatan hijau ini nggak termasuk. Dia berdiri sendiri. Ya. Now, so in Scotland, have you ever watched a movie Braveheart or The Highlander? Pernah nonton film Braveheart, Highlander gitu nggak?
No, sir.
Nanti dicek ya di YouTube, ketik aja Scotland Highlanders atau Scotland Braveheart, so you know what Scots people dialect is gitu ya. Nah, lalu ini yang purple ini ya, dark purple. Ini termasuk di sini apa namanya? Mancunian ini Liverpool nih. Kalau yang sering nonton English Premier League, if you watch the soccer game and it plays in Liverpool, try to listen to the commentators. Probably they are using the Mancunian dialect, which is the dialect from Liverpool. Okay. And this is London and Cockney, the red one here. So you see, there are varieties, even in British English, mind you. So you have to confirm whether you are using one of these or not. No, sir, I'm using American. Okay, American English it is. Do you incline to use American or British English when you teach people? Kira-kira nanti mau pakai yang mana? Nah, itu tergantung kesukaan masing-masing ya. There's no right and wrong in this. Okay. If you're using American English, which dialect are you using? Is it the dialect of New York City or the northern New England, southern part, western? Oh, I have a more, this one. This one is more detailed. Yeah. We have New England, Boston, New York City, Virginia. We have southern in Louisiana, north, southwestern, Pacific. Oh my goodness. So when you say, okay, I'm using American English, which part of American English you are using? So try to study this so that you can answer, okay, probably I'm using one of the New York City dialect. Okay, wait. So there are varieties of English. Of course, because they are all coming from the same root. There are similarities, but there are also differences. This is the map where you can find that English has two roots, the British and American. Okay, this is how you read this map. So the British English can be used in Caribbean, Falkland, that's in Malvinas, in apa namanya? Messi itu dari mana? Argentina ya, Argentina. And then West Africa, of course, East Africa. We have in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, of course, Hong Kong, New Zealand, even in Fiji. And then for the American, USA, Canada, partially, because in Canada you also have regions that use French, right? Not just English. We also have in the Philippines and in Hawaii, they use American English, right? And in Puerto Rico too. So this is what we call as not just one type of variation, like, or two type of variation, American English and British English. No, nowadays we have word Englishes because what we call as Singaporean English is very much different with the British English itself. What we call as Puerto Rican English is different with the one that we know as American English, right? So yes, we have word Englishes with American English or with British English. Wow. British English, we have so many because, they are the rulers of the world at, probably from the 16th, 17th to 18th century. They have so many colonies. American entered the colonialization era later than the British. So they have few colonies, right? Now, so the word English itself, if we're looking at this illustration as concentric circles, we have the inner circles, and then we also have the outer circle and expanding circle. In the inner circle, of course, we have the USA and the UK, the United Kingdom, all right? And we have Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And then in the outer circle, we have Bangladesh, India, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, of course. Yeah, because they use English as the second language, right? So they use it every day. So the outer circle, but they are not natives to English. Right? That is in the outer circle. Now, where is Indonesia? We are in the expanding circle because English is not our second language yet. It's still a foreign language to us. We are not using it every day. It's similar to China, Japan, Korea, yeah, China, CIS. This is, the countries belong to the former Soviet Union. Yeah, one of which is Ukraine, I think. Yeah, in CIS. So This is the map of word Englishes nowadays. Any comments on this? Yes. So now you know the variation of English, right?
Yes, sir. But
So yes.
the Indonesia is the expanding circle, like, sir. Is it possible if we have like Indonesian dialect, just like British dialect, the American dialect, like
Yes,
that, sir?
yes. Yes, even though we are still in expanding circle because English is still a foreign language to us, we can develop this kind of dialect, right? Like in Japan, they have the Japanese English, right? Everything is many of the words ends with O, right? That is the Japanese marker of English. Yeah. I think in Korea they also have a marker when they are when they are using English. In Indonesia, yes, we can develop this dialect, just like a Singaporean English, of course. Yeah. But this can change, right? Probably, let's say, hopefully, yeah, hopefully in 30 or 50 years from now, we can use Indonesia as a second language. We use it every day so that we can enter the outer circle, right? We can change it. Why not? Uh, or if the let's say China started to use English as a second language, they can also enter the outer circle, but they cannot enter the inner circle because it's not their native language, right? Any other question, comments? Now, from this, if you are a teacher and then you are choosing a textbook for your students in Indonesia, yeah, be careful. Try to read the textbook from the preface. Yeah, see whether the books is intended for English as a second language student or English as a foreign language student, right? Because they have differences. Yeah, they have significant differences. You always use English as a foreign language textbook in Indonesia. Yeah, unless you use the Cambridge style. Uh, if you're, let's say, you are in the elementary school, junior high school, or senior high school, they all using Cambridge program. They, of course, they are using English as second language, right? But other than that, focus on English as a foreign language, mind you. So there are implication of these circles, right? The way we teach English in the class will be different with the outer circle classrooms, of course. Yeah. Comments? Question? Mm. Now, what is good about these Englishes? We have pluricentricity or polycentricity. What does it mean? There is um, the inner circle here cannot claim that there is one standard English in the world. Okay, no, we don't have one standard English in the world. We have many standards of English in the world. So if you go to Malaysia, they have Malaysian English. They use Malaysian English as the standard. Similarly, in Singapore, we have Singaporean English. They have Singaporean English as the standard, right? In Indonesia, the people are still, trying to make a contrast between British English, American English. But no, we can have our own standard of English, Indonesian standard of English, because English is pluricentricity. Yeah. Why? Because you cannot just claim, okay, the American English is the most standard. No, you cannot claim that. Or if you are coming from Australia and then you say, oh, so Australian English is better. No, you cannot claim that also. So what we can do is to refer to the standard of tests. If you're using TOEFL, for example, anybody here taking TOEFL tests or IELTS tests? Ada yang udah pernah TOEFL, IELTS?
I never, sir.
Oh, online we have TOEFL online test or IELTS online test, or try to use YouTube. Just click IELTS online test. Now, TOEFL is used as a proficiency test, but they are not referring to American English only. No, all right. Even though they are used by um, the universities in the United States as one of the requirements for admission, but they are not claiming that their American English is the standard. No. IELTS is used for universities in England, in the United Kingdom, in Australia, New Zealand, as the one of the requirement for admission. But yes, they are not claiming that, okay, the British English is better. No, no. So even in the IELTS listening test, they have American style, American dialect when in the listening test, right? People talking in American dialect. So it's not that dialect is it's not matter anymore now, right? What matter is people understand you, and then you are having certain kind of similarities between the expanding outer and inner circle. Take a look at the grammar points. The grammar points are the same. The grammar points may have a little bit differences probably on dialectal level, probably in the community level, but not as the whole language. No. Pronunciation, yes. In one of the pronunciation, like I cannot, people in British say I can't. In American, you say I can't, right? But probably it's only dialectal. Yeah. So yes, pluricentricity, that is important. Yeah, in English. Wow. So if you look at this, this is a more detail. Yeah. If you are using British and Irish, you have, are you using BBC English, the Scott English? If you're using American English, which one? Is it Northern, Midland, Black English Vernacular? This is VVE, the Vernacular Black English. Yeah, the use of English used by the Afro-American people. Yeah, but if you're looking at Obama's speech, Obama doesn't use Black English Vernacular. Obama using the standard network. Yeah, standard American English. That some people say that the standard language in American is the language that is used in major universities. They call it the Ivy Leagues, right? In Stanford, Yale, if they use that particular language in Yale, that is the standard. Similarly, in British, if Oxford and Cambridge used a particular standard, then that is the standard English. That is one of the perspective for looking at standard English. But people in Canada will have different ideas because they also have their standard. In Caribbean English, yeah, let's say in Jamaican, they still have my man, not my man. So whenever people come, yo, my man, mama, oh, my man, okay, that's standard for them. Yeah. If you're in Africa, which standard is it? They have South African standard, Nigerian standard, so many. South Asian, we have the Indian English, yeah, Sri Lankan English, Nepalese. East Asian, we have Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysian, but we don't have Indonesian English. That's why I'm saying maybe your generation can develop the standard Indonesian English and then put it there in this map. What do you think? Can you do that? Hmm? Can you try to observe and then make a pattern, mapped it, and then you tell people, okay, this is our Indonesian standard of English. Okay. I think your generation can do that. Any questions so far? Comments? Have
It's
you
clear,
ever
sir.
discussed this with your teachers, with your lecturers in teaching subjects in
I think not
TEFL?
that, not like this detailed, sir.
Oh,
This
okay.
surface.
Okay. So I hope it can enhance your understanding of teaching methods and then incorporate with the knowledge of this variation of English, right? Okay, so whenever a student come to you and then the student using Australian English, it doesn't mean that this students is not okay. Yeah, some people say Australian not okay, American okay. This is not a good teacher. No, a good teacher should make inclusive teaching, not exclusive, but inclusive. Yeah, you welcome students using dialects, right? As long as you teach them, this is the standard one. This is what you are going to face in the exam, right? When you converse, when you're having a conversation, you can use your dialect. But when you are doing the grammar exercises, you have to stick with the grammar books. This is the standard ones, right? If you want to pass TOEFL, if you want to pass the IELTS, then you have to study this and use this standard. Okay. Otherwise, you will have problem. Um, there is a story about in the Negro Afro-American, one Afro-American female in the 60s. You know, in the United States, there is still some segregation between the white and the black, right? So it's a privilege for the black people to be educated in the same school with the white people. So in the 60s, there is a story of this one female Afro-American student who always failed in the writing class, right? Even though they changed the teachers so many times, 3 or 4 times with different teachers, the students always fail. And then one of the people who concerned with these students talked to the education body in the states, negara bagian ya. I think it's in the state of, I forgot. It's in the southern state. Yeah, either in the I think it's near Mississippi or something. Yeah, kalau nggak New Orleans, apalah gitu ya. So the education body in that state try to observe these students writing something. And then they find out that this female student writing essay, yeah, a very good essay in terms of the content, but the way she expressed her ideas is using the vernacular Black English, which is very different with the standard Northern American English. That's why she failed all the time, right? So by using this case, yeah, the governing education bodies in that states reform all the teaching methods, all the textbook. They have to be inclusive now, because the female students write a very good essay. Yeah, the content is clear, the flow of thought is clear. It's just that the way she expressed it is using, like double negative. She ain't got no money. She ain't, that's negative. No money, that is a negative. So double negative, that's always used in Black English vernacular, right? But it's not good if you're using it in an essay, an academic writing or academic essay. It's not good, right? It's not up to the standard. So Now they know why she failed, and it's not her fault, right? It's not her fault. This is the mistake that they have created because they use different standard. Nowadays they have not just one standard, but many standard that can be inclusive, but still there are points which is standard, including the use of grammar, sentence structure, right? For pronunciation, they try to. Some of them are very successful in, try to cut switch between Black English vernacular and the standard Northern American. Okay, so they can switch whenever the situation dictates them to use standard. They use the standard pronunciation, but in the hood, in their own neighborhood, they can use their Black English vernacular pronunciation. So yeah, it's quite a difficulties for people even in the United States. But nowadays things have changed, of course. Any question, comments on this? What about Indonesia? Have you got a friend who has struggling because he or she uses different dialect with, the general dialect that the teachers are using in the class, probably? Do you have that kind of experience? I have. In my writing class, I have the writing convention and grammar analysis class last semester. Hopefully, this semester will be different. Last semester, I taught 9 students, if I'm not mistaken, 9, yes. And many of them are writing their academic paragraph in spoken English. So it's very difficult to ask them to switch between spoken English to written English. I say, okay, this is in written, so you write as if it is supposed to be read, not you write as if it is supposed to be spoken. You write as if you are it is to be spoken, like the one that you write in Facebook, in WhatsApp, or in Twitter. You write something down as if they want to be spoken, right? But in academic essay, it's different, right? You write it as if it is supposed to be written. So we have to switch the perspective, yeah, using written English with written English, not spoken English for written English. Yeah. So I think that's the closest experience I have with different variation of English. What do you think? Hmm. Okay, let's continue first. Now, in light of that, I like to show you that English is actually not the most spoken language, even on the internet. It's still the Chinese with 20%. English is 60, probably because the Chinese have more native speakers here than English. I think that's one of the reason why English is not the first here, right? Indonesia is at 3% because we have also many people. I think we are the fifth largest population in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So yes, 3% here. Okay. So okay, languages with the most speaker. I think this is the I think it's the dark blue here. This is English. Mandarin Chinese. Mm, the dark blue is more than 1 million. Yeah. But altogether, English is still language with the most speaker, although the native speaker is still around 300 million or something. Yeah. But yes, when we talk about language with the most speakers, regardless of whether it's native or not, English is still dominant. Okay. So I think this chart is made for the native speakers only. Yeah. So like Indonesian people, when you use the internet, are you using Indonesian or English? What do you think? Indonesian or English on the internet? You know, like tweeting.
Both, sir.
English.
Both. English. Yes, probably because it's sometimes some topic is more comfortable to be written in English. Yeah. So we use English. Right? Okay. Now, okay. Okay, this is the same one, I think. Uh, Indonesian is number 10 here with 199 million native speaker. Yeah, native speakers. Uh, wait. Okay, so enough with Englishes. Now let's talk more about other social linguistic topics. We deal with this one, right? User and uses. We know about dialect, sociolect, gender lag, and then the uses with field, tenor, and mode. So let's focus on this register. Okay. So remember, last week we talked about a text, and if we are using a text, whether it is spoken or written, it represents a system of language. If you're using English text, it represents the English system. Yeah. So the system is what we call as meaning making tools. Yeah. Alat untuk mengungkap makna. Yeah. Meaning making tools or meaning making resource. So we know how to express something in English, whether it's spoken or written. We know how to express it by using verbal, non-verbal. Also, we need the structure and vocabulary, right? So that's why we use lexical grammar. And of course, we use language because we want to convey a meaning, all right? We want to convey a function. So this is also from last week. Remember the extra linguistic levels? This is the context of culture and context of situation. Situation means activities. Culture means the overall culture in which the situation takes place, right? So for example, if you are in the traditional market situation, the situation is bargaining, the culture is Indonesia. So how do you express your language if you want to make bargains? First thing, you rely on your linguistic ability. First, you have the meaning. Okay, I want to make a bargain. Say last week it is 5,000. So this week I want to make a bargain 5,000 or less than 5,000, but no more. You want to convey that, right? You have the semantics. So the meaning will be realized in the choice of words and choice of structure in the lexical grammar, right? You choose. Uh, okay, and then you can start with, okay, berapa bang seikat? Misalkan dia bilang 6.000, 6.000, kemarin cuma 4.000. You try to choose word because you want to convey the semantic, right? So all of these will be realized if it is spoken in phonology or if it is written in the graphology. So this is how it works. Yeah, the 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 uh, the flow between what happened in the extra linguistic level to the linguistic level, right? So whenever you have a text, it always represents the language system. Okay. Now, if we talk about the text, yeah, we have variation of language. So the text can also vary because there are some kind of variables that people like to uh, observe and then try to take into consideration before they really produce a particular text in a communication situation. For example, if this is a brother and sister, the brother asks, "What time is it?" So the sister checked the front door and see 3 bottles of milk. The milkman's here. And then the brother will just say, "Blimey, I'm late for work." Okay. So if I'm asking you a question with regard to blimey, this is a text, right? What is the situation? This blimey, I'm late for work. If we are focusing on this last utterance, blimey, I'm late for work. What is the situation there? It's a casual conversation between brothers and sisters, right? At home, right? And the culture, what kind of culture that the text represent using blimey? Are you familiar with that word, blimey?
No, sir.
Oh, have you read or have you watched Harry Potter?
I
Yes, sir.
have.
And you don't see people using blimey in Harry Potter?
I heard it, sir. It's
Blimey is very British.
yeah.
Apa ya? Kalau di Indonesia apa ya? Sialan gitu ya. Ini contoh ya. Blimey gitu ya. Aduh gitu ya. Telat nih gue. I'm late for work gitu ya. So by using this blimey, people know, okay, this is the culture is probably uh, English culture, yeah, not American culture. It's English, blimey. American will not use blimey, right? So we focus on the text, we focus on the situation, the conversation between brothers and sister, and the use of these blimey words. Yeah, it's considered as a curse words. Yeah, but it's very light. Yeah, not too serious. Yeah. So blimey, I'm late for work. Now, wait. Oh. So the context of culture and the context of situation will determine the types of language or the types or the choice of words and choice of structure, right? Now, if we look further with the COC, this is the culture, yeah, it will determine the meaning of a text by being who we are. We call it as identity. If you say blimey, then the identity is, okay, you are one of the Englishmen, perhaps. And what we do or what we are doing, this is related to the purpose, or saying what we say or expressing what we say. This is related to the structural or grammar. Yeah. Uh, so then again, the text will be vary according to the variable of context of situation and the context of culture. So like this one, yeah, what time is it? The milkman's here. Blimey, I'm late for work. Did you get the meaning of this conversation? The brother asked, "What time is it?" The sister just answered, "The milkman's here." Can you get it?
Yes, sir.
And then A can correlates the fact that the milkman's here and his actual question, and then respond, "Blimey, I'm late for work." Probably because the milkman's always deliver the bottles before 6 a.m. And since the bottle is already there, so it's after 6 a.m., right? And the brother think, okay, if it's after 6 a.m., then I will be late for work. Okay, so A and B is actually cooperates. Yeah, they, although it seems that A asks what time is it, and B doesn't answer it directly. This is what we call as indirect speech act. Yeah, speech act yang tidak langsung menjawab, gitu ya. but by some kind of association, we can find the meaning. Yeah, although it's very implicit. Now, let's talk about register. So the context of situation can be specified by using field, mode, and tenor in combination between these three so that we can choose uh, words or structures. We call it as register, yeah. Laras bahasa register. Um, as a preview, let me give you something. Um, who still read newspaper? Siapa yang masih baca koran? Indonesian newspapers? Anak sekarang nggak baca koran. Okay, later on, if you have time, if you go to probably, I'm not sure whether in the library in SU they have Indonesian newspaper, but if they have, try to check the sport news. Berita olahraga ya. The sport news have a different register because the field, the topic is probably soccer, yeah, and the mode written, yeah, and the tenor is between the journalist and the sports fan, yeah, that's the tenor. So it's not too casual because it's like between strangers actually, right? Uh, but the topic soccer may create a different choice of word and different choice of structure between the news, let's say in F1 racing. Anybody here fans of F1? Ada yang suka balapan F1? Wah, gak ada juga mobil. They have different choice of words in soccer and in F1, right? Of course, if you compare the soccer news with, let's say, some news in economy, very much different. They have different register, of course, right? So that is what we call as register. Different style, different choice of words, different choice of structure. Okay. Uh, so let's see. So field, this is what we call as what is going on. This is the topic, the activities. Yeah. And the mode is the channel chosen, whether it is spoken, written, using smartphones with CMC, yeah, computer mediated communication. And of course, the effect of that choice to the speakers and hearers relation. Yeah. For example, to your father or to your mother, when you replay their WhatsApp, are you using, a contraction in your WhatsApp message? Pakai disingkat-singkat nggak?
Yes, sir.
Contraction. Do you use emojis, emoticons to your father, to your mother? Pakai emoji juga?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, of course. Nah, sekarang pertanyaannya. Nah, the next question. To your lecturer, if you want to respond to their WhatsApp, are you using contraction in your words? Are
No,
you
sir.
using emojis to your lecturers?
Yang
It
video.
depends. It depends. Karena ini ada ini effect the choice to speakers and hearers relation. Ini ada kaitannya dengan tenor ini. If you are close to the lecturer, that means you and the lecturers knows each other quite well. Gitu ya. Probably you can use contraction. You can use emojis. But if you don't know the lecturers well, yeah, probably you should refrain from using contraction in your words or sentences, or refrain from using the emojis. That's what I do. If if I have to reply one of the professors that I know, and then they ask me something or they want me to do something for them. Well, WhatsApp is supposed to be like short messages, right? But when it comes to responding to these old professor that I respect, right, very much, so it's like a letter, a very long letter, right? I have to write it down, so many words, right? Because I don't know, probably because I respect them and I know that it will be dishonor to ask them to interpret the emojis or the contraction, right? So I treat it as a like an email actually because it's very long. So that's the choice. Yeah, the mode choice is also related to the tenor actually, because the tenor is the relationship between speaker and hearer, whether there is a degree of less degree of formality. Yeah, that means it's very informal, or whether or not there is a power differences between speaker and hearer. Like if you're talking to your lecturer, the lecturer has a power because the lecturer can ask you to do something with regard to the classroom activities, of course, right? Whether or not there's a social distance between you and your lecturer. If you know the lecturers well, that means the distance is quite narrow, yeah, or maybe it's quite far. It depends on your relations, all right? Or is there any feeling or attitude between you and the lecturers? Some students, they don't like, killers lecturers. Oh, I don't like Mr. C. Mr. C is very difficult to talk to. Yeah, very stingy with the score. I don't like him. So it may contribute to the choice of words and choice of structure. Yeah, that kind of feeling or the attitude. Right. So it will reflect on your choice of word, on your choice of structure, yeah, the pattern of the texture. We call it as a register. Okay. Now let's see here. This is the field mode and tenor. Wait. Some register is very general, so we can put it as the generic register. For example, do you remember when you are a child, people ask you to read a children's story? Those start with Hans Christian Andersen. Pernah baca buku-buku H.C. Andersen nggak? Yang ada princess, ada prince gitu. Buku-buku anak-anak kecil gitu ya. Pernah baca?
Pernah,
Ah, itu registernya udah jelas tuh. Choice of words, choice of structure, the register. It all begins with in a kingdom far, far away. Gitu ya. Live a prince and princess, blah, blah, blah. Gitu ya. Terakhirnya biasanya, so now they live happily ever after. There are choices, which is very generic. What is generic? Generic means, kalau disebut generic itu apa ya?
common.
Common, very common, typical. Generic itu bisa juga typical ya. The typical story for children, it start with that kind of words, that kind of structure. Yeah. Kalau di resep masakan, what is the generic register of recipes? If you want, ini buat yang cewek-cewek nih biasanya nih ya. Yang cowok mungkin ada juga ya. Many chefs are males. So if you look at recipes, what are the generic structure, generic register?
Siap dihidangkan.
Apa misalkan mix X with Y before pour with X, or heat, kalau panasin heat ya, heat X until 2 to 3 minutes, misalkan gitu ya. They don't use a complete sentence, they use imperative because it's like an instruction. You cannot say you hit, yeah, but you say hit, panasin gitu ya. Kalau motong apa ya? Motong slice. You don't say you slice, you say slice. Slice this. So there's a register that is typical to recipe. Yeah, that is the register of the recipe. Yeah. Kalau registernya paper, paper atau artikel jurnal lah. Teman-teman lagi ini ya belajar research method kan ya?
Yes, sir.
Oke, udah disuruh baca artikel jurnal gitu?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. Okay, you have to get used to this register in a paper or journal articles, right? They can start with abstract, right? The title first, right? And then the writers, and then the abstract. After abstract, you have introduction. And then you have biasanya teori dulu, theoretical framework. And then research methods. Lalu apa discussion. Terakhir biasanya itu ada kesimpulan ya, conclusion. And we also have reference ya, ada bibliografi ya, ada reference. I think that's pretty much the generic structure of paper or journal articles, but you can also find the choice of words and choice of structure in this academic style of writing, which become their register. Ya, jadi cara pandangnya sekarang, your perspective should look at a text, and these texts belong to different register. Gitu ya. Ini wait. Let me. Can I end the show? Okay. Let's see if it works here.
Jangan lewatkan penampilan spesial kami di Shopee 99 Super Shopping Day.
Is the audio okay? Kedengaran audionya?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this video is a parody of what people use in corporate, in office situation. Jadi ini registernya meeting lah ya, gitu ya, office meeting. Let's see here.
Welcome, take a seat. Thank you for coming in. Now let me give you a brief rundown of the position on offer. In a nutshell, the primary purpose of the role is to execute the Institute's external and internal communication plans. Now this involves the implementation and maintenance of a broad range of communication methodologies in order to engage staff with the Institute's vision and strategic plan and connect with clients at various touch points. So you'd be working collaboratively across marketing and communications and people and culture functions to synergize a robust and dynamic system of communications across multiple channels to add value and assist in achieving business objectives moving forward.
Okay, so but you know the what he's trying to say, right? Did you get that?
Yes.
It's but he is using choice of words and choice of structure, which is very typical of people who is in office situation, like having office meeting, office presentation. So it will be different with if you are just talking to your friend. It's different with if you are talking to, let's say, to your lecturers because of you want to discuss your papers. It will be different. Yeah. Now, let's see another type. Where are we? F1. Oh, okay. F1. I see F1 here.
Why is a week in 3 days? Mainly because in Formula One it's a bit of a classic to have 3 days. We use Friday as a free practice day.
So 3 days we have on the race weekend, we just have 3 hours of practice on the Friday. Generally, when you get to a track, you just need time to learn about the car, about the track, about the conditions.
we divide the weekend into 3 parts. Here we would practice, here we would qualify, here we would race. We use this day to learn everything we can about the car and the track.
Saturday is really about refining the changes you made in practice in the morning, qualifying for position.
Oke. Jarang ya yang nonton race ini ya? Nggak ada yang F1 fans di sini? Wah. In F1 there are terminologies, of course. Yeah, it becomes one of the elements in the register of F1 speaking, of F1 conversation, right? Ada beberapa terminologi khusus ya. That is choice of words. This register can always be found in any communication related to F1. Ya. Tadi ada apa tuh? Ada free practice, qualification, etc. That is pretty much exclusive for F1. Itu ya. Wait, later on. Wait. Tadi ada lagi. This one. This is Air India 1. This is call sign for one of the planes. ATC, are you familiar with the term ATC? This is the air traffic controllers yang suka ada di towers ya. Kalau in the airport there are towers, so the ATC officers are trying to guide the planes, right? So they have to communicate with the pilots. So let's see how it goes. Oh, panjang banget. Okay.
Good heading and descend at pilot's discretion, maintain 6,000.
Roger. On current heading, descend at pilot's discretion, maintain 6,000, Air India 1. Air India 1 Heavy. Good morning, descending 6,000 feet and requesting heading 280.
Air Canada 1 Heavy, Houston approach, runway 8 right. Freshen Air India 1, Houston approach, runway 8 right. And flighting 260 vectors for that weather, maintain 6,000. How does that work for you?
260 is good enough, Air India 1, and maintain 6,000 reading.
Okay. Do you know what they are trying to say? How about it?
Not really, sir.
Not really. Yes, I don't know too. Because they are using the register that is exclusive only for, how should I say, the ATC language perhaps, yeah, or pilot's language, yeah. So we have tadi apa? Heavy. Heavy is actually the jumbo jet. They have the term heavy. Heavy means because they are a big plane, right? Heavy. Headed means the course that they are trying to go to. Yeah. So yes, have you watched the Top Gun Maverick movie? Have you watched it?
Just a glimpse, sir.
You watch it in full because I'm there, you know, the one with the full helmet on. You can't see me, of course, because I'm wearing the helmet. But I'm one of the pilots, of course. No, just kidding. No. But if you watch the Top Gun movies or any other movies using one of the pilot scenes, the pilots, they use this lingo, they use this register varieties, yeah, which is exclusive only for pilots language, pilots with the ATC, right? So yeah, kind of different language, yeah, but that is the register. And if you can click this later on, you can see that even in court they have different register. Yeah, in the courtroom, in the court session, yeah, the juries, the of course the judge, right, and lawyers, right, the defendant, they might use different varieties of language that we call as register because the field is different, right? So even though the mode is still speaking, but the field makes it different, right? Because it's courtroom session. We have judicials, legal. Yeah. So that's what we call as a register. Now, in light of that, let me kind of wait. I'm trying. I skipping this one. This is okay. So a register, we have to think about the combination between field, mode, and tenor. Yeah, this is the parameter with contextual variables. Now, can you read this? Plaintiff alleged that the defendant did hit, beat, punch, pummel, and mutilate plaintiff and did damage and or destroy valuable photographic equipment belonging to plaintiff. What kind of register that the writer used here? Are you familiar with this choice of word, choice of structure? What is the field? Kira-kira aja. Pernah dengar plaintiff? Ini kayak pelapor gitu ya. Defendant? I think you know the hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Please, some people write it on the chat box.
Oh yeah, I cannot see it. Okay, the defendant is the cases with Sambo. I think it's a hype now. Yeah, Sambo will be the defendant. Apa itu defendant? Terdakwa ya, terdakwa ya. Ada apa? So this choice of words, plaintiff and the defendant, clearly signal that this is legal register. Yes, register that is related to law, register that is related to courtroom. Yeah, because they have used different type of words or probably some kind of terminology that is exclusive only to courtroom session or legal documents. Ya. What about this one? Ini biasanya ada di teks seperti apa ya? Can you see the register?
I think it is related with the medical things.
Medical, yes, medical. It's a bit popular medical, yeah. Not too difficult to understand, yeah. They are not using the Latin words for moles, freckles. If they use Latin words, that means it's a textbook for medical students. if you read the medical student textbooks, it's full of the Latin terminologies, right? But this one, no, they use simplified English for the names of diseases and symptoms. So I think yes, popular medical, I think. Yeah, good. What about this one? Where can we find this? What kind of register that is used here? Yes.
Is it on dictionary, sir?
Dictionary, yes. Always with noun. This is the noun, and then this is the etymology. Probably started in 1878. The definition, we have 1, 2, 3. Good. This one. What kind of register that we have here?
Basketball course.
Basketball news. Yes, it's a game, basketball news. Yes, we have slam dunk. Apalagi ya yang registernya ya? Ada All-Star center ya?
Rebounds.
Center. First quarter rebound, yes. Okay. Good. What kind of text that we have here? What register? Mm-hmm. Anybody? I cannot see your text here. Oh, here. I think courtroom crimes. Oh, okay. So what do you think of this one? Regional, Wakanda, sunshine followed by increasing
I think
cloud.
it's weather news.
Weather forecast. Yes, weather forecast. Good, good. Ah, so this is an example of a letter. Yeah. Uh, a copy has been sent to blah, 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 a meeting, blah, blah, blah. So in a nutshell, this is a quite formal letters. Yeah. Now, if we try to rewrite it and then try to use different choice of words, choice of structure, then we are playing with the register, right? So thank you for your letter we received on the 14th of September. And then we rewrite it like this. Thank you. Thanks for your letter. We got it on 14th September. The meaning is the same, right? The meaning is the same. What makes it different is the choice of words, choice of structure. Here we have contraction. Thanks instead of thank you, right? Got it instead of received. This one, a copy has been sent to company headquarters concerning your financial situation. We rewrite it like this. We've sent a copy to com.hq along with a memo, re your financial situation. Can you get this one? What is a comp here? It's a contraction. Com, period. Company, yeah? HQ, are you familiar with HQ? This is the headquarters. Along with a memo, re, period. Re is regarding, yeah, regarding your financial situation. So, yeah, the one on the left is more formal. The one on the right is less formal. So if you are writing this to an important client, which one are you using? The left one or the right one? Hmm? It depends, sir. It depends on what? The topic is clear. Yeah. We are trying to help with your financial situation. That's the topic. The mode, it's written. Yeah. You want to send it on email. Okay. The tenor will make it different. Tenor is the relationship between speaker and hearer, or relationship between writer and readers, right? So it depends. If you are close to this important client, right, that means you know each other very well. Yeah. So you often talks to each other, right? So I think you can use the informal one, the less formal one. If the tenor is not that um, friendly, yeah, because you just know the client and you know that this is important client and you want to maintain the distance, so you can use the formal situation, the formal register. Are you following what I'm trying to say here?
Yes, sir.
Topic
Yes,
the
sir.
same, mode the same, but probably tenor will makes them different. Yeah. So when you write your, for example, your papers, yeah, a midterm or final paper, final exam paper, and you try to use formal register, right? You don't use less formal register. Yeah. Similarly, because it's a test, right? Okay, this is also formal and informal. You can take a look at it later on. So there are choices of words, right? Oh, like this one. Dear Mr. Man, this is an email, and the writer wants to ask something. Yeah, this is formal one because they use Mr. Man, Mr. plus last name. I'm writing to thank you, entitled blah blah blah. I would be grateful if you could send me a PDF of the slides. I am certain. Yeah, yours sincerely. It's very formal, right? Now, in a similar way, but with different style, with different register. Dear Malcolm, this is less formal. Kalau tadi kan Mr. Man ya, ini Malcolm. That's first name, right? First name. So the tenor is different now. Yeah, this piece of text is written because the writer thinks that you are close to Malcolm. So you just say, Dear Malcolm. Yeah, many thanks. Could you send me? Could you? Yeah, all the best. So it's different, right? Oh, this one is written by, that teenagers trying to be formal, but they still use contraction here, fab, and then they're gonna. So it's less formal, but he's trying. Yeah, he is trying. Thanks again. This one. This is probably from Malcolm, one of Malcolm's best friends. So you just say Malk. I'm not sure whether it's an endearment terms for Malcolm. It was great to meet you yesterday. Thanks a lot. Can you send me? Instead of could you, you say can you? If it's okay with you, I'll share it with my colleagues. Thanks again. Bye for now. So there are choice of words, choice of structure, all of which, yeah, these four, it depends on the tenor. Yeah, the field or the topics are the same, right? Asking Malcolm to send the presentation slides, the mode, written language, but the tenor, differences of how close you are. Yeah, whether you are know this person, well enough or not. Yeah, so that makes it different. Okay. Any questions so far? Hello.
I think it's
Okay.
all clear, sir. Thank you.
It's all clear. This is in writing, right? This is in writing. Now let me try. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Let me stop sharing first because I want to go to. Okay. Let me share computer sound. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I want to talk about linguistic repertoire. Each of us know our language varieties. We know dialects, English dialect, Indonesian dialects, the style, formal, informal, right? Now, each of us have our own linguistic repertoire or communicative repertoire. Repertoire, what's in Indonesian? Perbendaharaan ya, hasanah, perbendaharaan. So in our minds, we have stored many language varieties that we can call as our linguistic repertoire, and we can use it whenever the situation dictates us to do it or to use it, right? We can use formal, informal. We can use, say, British English or American English, for example, right? So let's see. If we know how to use one particular varieties in one particular context, instead of another, because we know exactly this is the more appropriate choice. We have a good communicative competence, right? Because we know what to say to whom, how to say it, and then when, where, and why, right? So for example, this is for male students only. Male, yeah, men, if they be acquainted with new friends, female, would male students will ask, how old are you? Can we ask ladies, how old are you? What do you think? The grammar is okay. How old are you? But it's not okay because it's not appropriate. Yeah. This is your first encounter and then you ask, how old are you? No, it's not okay. Yeah. Try to use another way to inquire about the age instead of just asking, how old are you? Right. So this communicative competence includes in the knowledge or the language knowledge that we have. Yeah. So CC, communicative competence. So for example, A can use, hi, I believe you work at my school, Washington Elementary. My name is Alexander. Do you live in this neighborhood? Or you can use B. Hi, I think I've seen you at my school before. My name is Alex. Do you live around here? So this boy can switch, right, between A and B. Why? Because he has this communicative competence and he also has a good linguistic repertoire that can enable him to switch. Yeah. Which one is more appropriate? It depends on who speaks to whom. If you are speaking to older person, I think you would choose the left one here. If you're using to speak to a person who is at the same age as you can use the right one, right? Similarly with A and B, on the left, this is a girl. I think the girl in B is more formal, yeah. In A is less formal. It depends on who you speak to, who speaks to whom, okay? So linguistic repertoire is important, but you can switch the register based on at least the topic, the participant, or setting. Setting here means when, where, right? The time, the place. Okay. Now, for example, here, how do you do, Mr. Brown? How do you do, Mr. Himes? I think the context of culture is clear. It's not Indonesian. Yeah. The situation is a greeting for the first time, first encounter. Yeah. If it is not first encounter, you cannot say, how do you do? You would say, how are you? Or how are you doing? Right. So we can say that the A and B has a good linguistic repertoire in English, at least for formal and informal ones, right? This is between boss and employee. How are you doing, Jack? I'm fine, Mr. Green. How about you? Which one is the boss? Is it C or D?
It's the C, sir.
A C. Why? Because D called him Mr. plus last name, Mr. Green. Yeah, the culture is, of course, not Indonesian. The situation, I think the boss wants to greet the employee, right? So again, the repertoire dictates the C to use Jack as the first name because C has more power. So C has the rights to use first name, but D refined to use first name. So refrain from using first name. D is trying to use Mr. plus last name. Yeah. So yes, C and D also demonstrate their linguistic repertoire. Okay. Yo, Greg, my man, long time no see, huh? Hi, John. You've gained some muscles, dude. So you can see that again, this is the use of English and it's not Indonesian because the use of, I think this is American football, yeah, rugby. And then the situation, I think it's in a football field, casual greeting, right? They know each other, right? So they use my man, hi John, first name. So they know English, at least formal, informal one. Okay, so whenever you watch movie, try to find the relation between speaker and hearer, and then try to work on the use of language. All right. For example, here, let's see. This is between a mother and the son. Yeah. Jack is just coming home from school. They use the back door. Oh, yeah. So he used the back door to get into the house, and the mother is there in the kitchen. Hi, mom. Hi, honey. How's school? Great. That wicked bastard Murphy had us collecting dust and garbage again. Granny's here. Oops, sorry. Where is she? So you can see the tenor between mother and son. Is it wide apart or close? Are they trying to maintain the
I think it's
distance?
very close.
It's close. Why? Jack used wicked bastard in front of the mother. That is, if it's not close, the Jack wouldn't dare using wicked bastard there. And then honey, hi honey. See? And then granny's here. What does it mean? Granny's here.
What's your language?
Watch your language. Granny's here. Oh, sorry. Where is she? And next, this is between Jack and the grandma. Grandma, when did you arrive? Oh, Jack, you've got taller and taller every day. I was just on my way home from the hospital this morning. Is everything all right? Don't worry, it's just a cold. Can I get you something hot? Well, hot chocolate sounds nice. You see the difference between this and the kitchen conversation? I think in this one, Jack is trying hard to maintain a good grammar in his utterances, in his sentences. Yeah, a good grammar and good words. Yeah. Uh, Now this is Jack. Uh, this morning, yeah, Jack and his classmate are in the schoolyard collecting garbage, and the headmaster approached them. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Ripley. Boys, to other students, the great headmaster says, boys, may I know what's going on here? Mr. Brown made us collect the garbage around the schoolyard, sir. I see. And where is Mr. Brown now? He's probably still in the classroom. Now, what's the tenor between the headmaster and Jack? Is it close or not?
No, sir, it's not close.
No. The headmaster using Mr. plus last name, Mr. Ripley. Why? This is a typical of British medium and high class schools. Like Harry Potter, the teachers always called Mr. Potter, right? Mr. Ripley. So I think that's the way the uh, register in that kind of school. Yeah, expensive schools. Right? And Jack used Mr. also, Mr. Brown. Yeah, I think that's typical student and teachers. Yeah. Okay. Now, after a while, the break times appear and the other classrooms opened. And this is James from the next class seeing Jack and his classmate and then say, yo, Jack, my man, what the fuck you doing with your homies? Social services? James, don't start with us. Beat it. Okay, chill out, man. Hey, you missed some shits here and there too. Fucked off, James. We ain't got time for you. Whoa, you all cheated on a quiz or something? Or you all fucked Mr. J's wife? That's it. Let's fuck this asshole, dudes. So, what do you think? What do you think of this register? Hmm? The topic is, a particular situation in which the James is trying to, you know, make fun of Jack and his classmate. And the use of language is very much different with the language that Jack used to the headmaster, right? And there are some markers there. Yeah. I think the one in blue, I think that's some of the markers that they use only for with their friends, yeah, at the same age, yes, classmates, right? Uh, what do you think? I think this is also one of the Jack's linguistic repertoire, yeah. So now let's talk about this one. This is the headmaster try to talk to Jack's teacher. The headmaster come to the classroom and then say, Murphy, can I talk to you for a minute? Sure. What's up, John? Murphy, John, the headmaster. What's the relation between teachers and headmaster from this particular choice of words, Murphy and John?
But they are closer.
They are close, even though headmaster should be the boss, right? Teachers, the headmaster is the boss, right? Murphy should refer to headmaster as Mr. plus last name. But no, Murphy says John. So I think they are close to each other. And there are nobody else there. Yeah. So it's just two of them in the classroom. So it's not public. Yeah. So I think they can use first name. What's up, John? Murph, I saw your student are outside. They failed to submit their paper this morning. What do you expect me to do? I understand, but can you ask them to do something more academic? Can you ask them? I think that is more like an order, not just a request, yeah, because this is the headmaster's talking, yeah. Okay, now let's see. Oh, this is the same. Now, the headmaster returning to his office and then to his secretary, he said, Miss Gray, could you do me a favor? Go tell Mr. Brown's students to clean themselves up and get ready for their next class. Right away, sir. Would you like me to use the speaker? They're in the parking lot collecting garbage. Very well, sir. So what do you think of the tenor between the headmaster and his secretary?
It's formal. They are not really close.
So the headmaster still try to maintain the distance, yeah, not trying to close up the distance, but still maintaining the distance. Try to be formal, yeah. I think because this is the register of the class in that kind of high schools, yeah, sekolah-sekolah mahal in English, yeah, expensive schools. They always, formal. Okay, this one. The secretary asks, would you like me to use the speaker? And the headmaster says, they're in the parking lot collecting garbage. What does the headmaster mean by saying this? Hmm. They're in the parking lot collecting garbage. Would you like me to use the speaker? The headmaster can just say yes or no. But the headmaster answered, they're in the parking lot collecting garbage. What does the headmaster means? Yes.
I think he means that yes, you should use the speaker because yeah, they are still in the parking lot, so it
Okay.
is
So it's an
easier to.
indirect way of explaining things, right? And then the Miss Gray says very well. That means she understands she cannot use the speaker because they are far away in the parking lot. They cannot hear the speaker. So Miss Gray have to go all the way to the parking lot and ask them directly. Yeah. Okay. So in the light of this, many people always use. Wait. Hmm. Can you see this one? Wait, I have to end the show. Okay. So it's in the middle class of Indonesian, the linguistic repertoire would may include, because this is an example, yeah. The example is one of my friends, a Javanese, so she can speak Javanese, colloquial Indonesian, proper English, right? So that's her linguistic repertoire, middle class, right? So the domain is the place where you use the language. The place is abstract here. Yeah. For family, the place can be home, or it can be in a restaurant because you're talking to the member of the family. Yeah. But it's still the family domain, an abstract term. The setting can be physical. Yeah. So for example, if the domain is family, that means you are talking to the family members. Addressee, this is the hearers. Yeah. Addresser, speaker, addressee, hearers. So she talks to her parents at home, and the topic is planning a family trip, because they are a middle class Javanese who are related to the palace, the Yogyakarta palace. So they use Chromo-Ingal Javanese. That's the high Javanese, right? High variety of Javanese. In the friendship domain, she speaks to her friends at the beach, talking to for the boy with the topic, the boy that you like. They use colloquial Indonesian, bahasa Indonesia sehari-hari, ya, informal, right? Uh, Religion, when she talks to the priest at the church, or the topic is your plan to get married, they use proper Indonesian, right? At school, when education domain, you talk to a teacher about a difficult grammar problem, you use proper English, of course. In the office, employment domain, in the office, workplace, right? You talk to your boss, employer, asking for a raise. Of course, you use proper Indonesian. So you can create this kind of tables, right? You have to list your linguistic repertoire and create the domain, yeah, and then check the topic, participant, or some setting. It will be different from one case to another, of course, because for participant, let's see, you also talk about tenor, right? Relation between you and the speaker, whether it's close or not, whether there are powers between you and the speakers. Yeah, like teachers, probably they like to maintain the distance. Yeah, jaim, yeah, jaga image, maintain the distance and be formal. Other lecturers probably not. Other lecturers probably don't want to maintain the distance. They want to make a close relationship with the students. Yeah, so it differs. So this is related to your next topic. I want you to read the rest of the slides, which is related to bilingualism. So actually, we want to talk about it next week, but I will put it here so you can listen, so you can watch it first. Watch, because there are some videos here. You watch them first, and then you talk about bilingualism in our discussion later on next week. Yeah. Here we have bilingualism, diglossia, and also code switch. Okay, so try to read this first, watch some of the movies there from YouTube. I put the link there, all right? And then try to go to where I put the discussion here. Ah, so you have to discuss this. Can you see the canvas discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you know about your linguistic repertoire. Now try to find out about your own linguistic repertoire uh, and the members of your family. If you have your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, right? And make a list of this linguistic repertoire. Similar to what we did here. Mana tadi? Ini dia. You can try to make some kind of table like this. For example, family, domain, and then you talk to your family members, yeah, to your father. Probably the language will be different, yeah. If you talk to your father and then you talk to your brother, it will be different. Probably with your parents, you use proper Indonesian, but with your brother or sister, you use colloquial Indonesian, yeah. So try to engage in the first what you have to do, yeah, to present the list here, and then let other students know about your list, and then they will comment on your list. You have to respond to their comments. Then you can also look at your friends list and make comments there. Okay, this discussion will be open until September 6th. So it doesn't have to be done on September 6th, right? You can do it this afternoon if you like, and then see whether the discussion will, develop or extend until September 6th. Okay. And then I will try to grade the best three of your comments, which is will reflect what you have understand about the linguistic repertoire, about word Englishes, about language varieties, right? Or probably, since you already have the handouts, you can talk about bilingualism. For example, you can talk about how bilingual are you, yeah? Or you can talk about code switching if you like. Where is the code switch? This one. We haven't really talked about this. Yeah, we talk about this next week, but you already have the slides. You can also look at Google for code switching and bilingualism. Right. Any question, comments?
Sir?
Yes. Yes.
So the list will look like what you have showed us in the PPT, sir?
Okay. Let me show you what the students do. This one. This is your senior. Father, mother. I think this is the profiling of the family members. Yeah. And then wait. This is Deva. Deva use this kind of profiling. So father, if you talk to the father using home, code mix, workplace with the proper Indonesian, I think this is also good. You can also use that. Or you can use a list like this, very simple list, that's okay too. You don't have to use table yeah. I think, this is also table. Grandmother using Palembang, father. So this is the linguistic profiling of the family members. Yeah. And then you can talk about how you use it in your daily life. That's also possible. Mana lagi ya? Ada lagi nggak? Oh, okay. So basically, you can try to expand the table. Mana tadi itu table? Nih. This table you can expand it. Yeah. You can use your creativity to expand it. See if you can contribute to the discussion. Yeah. This discussion. Any other question, comments?
Hello, sir. I just want to ask whether next week will it be online or offline,
Oh,
sir?
yeah, offline ya berarti ya. Kan alternate ya.
Okay, sir.
So
Thank you, sir.
next week alternately. So I'm going to see you in the classroom, not in Teams, yeah. Okay, I think wow, it's already 12 o'clock. So sorry, I cannot see the chat room. Whenever I share it, how can I see the chat room? People are writing something here. Okay. Oh, my favorite singer is from Geordie and can hardly understand the word he said in an interview. Geordie, where is Geordie? Is it in England?
Yes, sir. It's in England. I think it's in.
Ah,
Oh,
I see. You know David Beckham?
yes,
You
sir.
know the footballers, right? So I think it's in the 90. I forgot the year. Is it 95 or 96? The first time he got on the interview, people cannot understand David Beckham. He used the Liverpoolian accent, the Mancunian. So he actually he played for Manchester, but his accent is Liverpool, right? So the first time he got an interview, Indonesian public they feel that that is not English. I cannot understand David Beckham, right? But David Beckham tried to learn more, especially probably after he dated one of the Spice Girls, his wife now, yeah. So he tried to speak with other dialects, London dialects. Nowadays, David Beckham moved to the United States, right? So he tried to try to mix with the United States dialect, probably the Northern American dialect, the standard one. Okay, yes, I know what you mean. There are so many dialects, English dialects, that we cannot understand. Yeah. Okay. Any other question, comments? Watashi. Okay. Weebu. What is weebu? Weebu?
Wibu is
Fikri?
people that love anything about Japanese.
Ah, yeah. Watashiwa is what I know is formally for female. The male use boku wa to refer to I. Ya. Jadi kalau saya biasanya laki-laki pakai boku, boku wa bla bla bla. Kalau cewek watashi wa bla bla bla. But after the 90s, somehow they change it. So even male speakers now using watashi wa. Yeah, but actually, not all of them. Probably in the movies, yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, you have to go to Tokyo and then make a survey whether the male people are still using bokuwa instead of watashiwa. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other question? All right. So hopefully we're meeting again next week in the classroom. Yeah. So I'm try to read bilingualism, diglossia, and code switching or code mixing. I put some of the key reference on our slides. Try to read that first, and then try to go to Google if you want to know more, or to check the books that I sent or that I put on our resources. Okay. Wow, this is a very long day for me. But thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you learned something. All right. Okay. I think we should call it a day, shall we? Thank you very much for your time. I'll see you next week at SU campus. Bye
Thank
bye,
you very much, sir.
everyone.
See you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good
You're
day.
welcome. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy.